Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump wins once again. Donald Trump wins once again. The Epstein cover up will be successful. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm going to tell you what probably no one else will tell you, right? A lot of left wing media folks are pretty much milking this whole thing. Oh, the MAGA is turning on Trump, right? That content is gold. Their subscribers love to hear it. Oh, MAGA is turning on Trump finally, and Trump's finished, and he's not gonna get away with this Epstein thing, right? So they're gonna continue to ride that as long as they can. So they're not gonna tell you the truth, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, right? Right-wing media obviously is not telling you the truth. They are basically protecting the elites. They're protecting the establishment. So there was a brief revolt, but we've seen this before. That's the thing about it. None of this is new. We saw this for the January 6th and many other situations where, everything seems like, you see a bunch of people that are turning on Trump or MAGA, whatever it is, and then they quickly do a 180. We saw, like, look for example, one of the big talking points that we heard from the right was people saying that basically they were laughing at the idea that January 6th was an insurrection, right? That was a major talking point. But the thing about it is, I think even Ben Shapiro is one of the people who actually referred to it as an insurrection, right? So even Ben Shapiro thought it was an insurrection, but quickly after that, he goes where the wind blows, right? MAGA is all supporting Trump. That's where the clicks are, so they do a 180 flip. And that's exactly what happened right now. We had a MAGA revolt, a brief revolt, supposedly. And let me tell you, this is how greedy these propagandists in left-wing and right-wing media, especially independent media, who take the same thing you see in mainstream media, and they just do it 10 times more extreme, because they have no standards, right? You're independent media. No one can fire you. You don't have any legal department. You don't have any boss. You don't have any board of directors. You don't have any investors. It's just you. So you can say whatever you want to say. And that's what they do. They say whatever it is that gets them clicks, right? So what first happened was a lot of left-wing media were lying to their viewers and saying that MAGA was turning on Trump. MAGA was not turning on Trump. The initial thing was they were helping protecting Trump by deflecting and talking about, oh, Pam Bondi or oh, Bongino. That was the first thing, right? So when they were not turning on Trump, but turning on other people, which is, again, we've seen this before. It's not like this is new. This is what they do. Actually, when Trump got elected in this term, I made an actual video and I specifically called this out. I said this is going to happen. What did I say in that video? I said just about everybody in his cabinet is going to have a major scandal. Then we had like 2 Signalgate scandals. Got the Tulsi Gabbard thing going on right now. There's something with the Maha, whatever. I mean, and more is to come. People think that they've seen it all. No, it's going to get much worse. I said this was going to happen. And what did I say? Every time something happens, Trump is going to be like, well, I didn't know. And the blame is going to go to everybody around him, right? The first time around, it was like, oh, it was his first time. Now it's his second term. What's the excuse, right? So let's actually go public so we can get some people in the chat. 1 second. If you're just joining, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and click on the like button. Go ahead and click on the like button so other people can join. So that is the basic. Those are the basics, right? So once again, for people, because we're just going live now, so people are going to start joining into the chat. Again, as you join the chat, go ahead and click on the like button. So the topic today is Trump has won. Trump has won. The Trump Epstein cover-up is successful. We're going to talk about in this live stream why it looked like for a brief moment Trump might actually be losing with his base, right? We're going to talk about why that was happening, what has changed, We're going to talk about how left-wing media, again, they're milking this. Again, they prematurely said MAGA is turning on Trump when MAGA was not turning on Trump. They were turning on Pam Bondi and everybody else but Trump. Then they inched closer. Then they said the Trump administration, right? But what left wing, a bunch of left wing guys, even like the far left, were doing the same thing. They post a video, MAGA turns on Trump. And then literally, as soon as the video begins, you see MAGA not turning on Trump, but turning on Pam Bondi, right? But then eventually, MAGA did turn on Trump. People started saying, like, MAGA influencers saying, like, Trump, what is he covering up? And, this is not what Trump promised us, and it's not what I voted for. So finally, they started to actually go after Trump directly. But then the story came out, the story from the what was it, the Journal, Wall Street Journal, and then MAGA did a 180 right back in Trump's camp, and now Trump is pretty much good to go. So first of all, once again, and this is not like a clickbait video. I'm not trying to get attention or whatever. I'm telling you reality. I'm the guy who predicted Trump coming back into office years before he did. While all the left-wing folks were talking whatever nonsense, right? Build Back Better was a major moment, and that's when I started raising alarms, right? Well, I'm going to raise alarms right now. Now, this is something that's going to happen much quicker than my whole election prediction. But it's the same kind of scenario where I'm reading between the lines. I am very much, very, very, very much involved in politics in terms of consuming it, in terms of I look at a lot of from far right all the way to far left and everything in between, mainstream media, independent media. So I know how this game works, right? So I'm raising the alarm right now. Those of you left-wing folks that are watching these left-wing media channels, these guys are going to play with you, right? I've said this many times. I'm going to say it again. Do you remember in 2024 when they told you about how Trump's rallies, nobody's showing up at Trump's rallies, right? Trump's base is not going his rallies, right? His base is tired. His base is tired of him. Trump is losing. If you're just joining the live stream now, click on the like button and comment in the comment section. Let me know. Do you remember when all the left-wing media channels were saying about how Trump's rallies were empty and all the bleachers were empty and there was like, there's no way Trump's going to win? You remember that? Right? 3 years ago, I said Trump is coming back, and he came right back, right? Because I was looking on the ground and seeing what was happening, and I recognize one of the big problems that I recognize. I don't want to sidetrack this conversation, but one of the things that I recognized was the energy on the Democratic Party side was fading, right? Biden, I know, let Kyle Kalinske tell it. Biden was great and he did better than other presidents and whatever. But this is what I always say. The way that I measure presidents is not the way a lot of these partisans online measure a president, right? A lot of these guys, especially on the left, on the liberal side, they like to do this comparison to the previous, right? So they will look at Joe Biden and, oh, maybe he did some kind of progressive things. And they look at all the previous presidents and they say, wow, Joe Biden was way more progressive. That is not the way I look at presidents, right? I live in reality. And in reality, what really matters is not how much you're better than other presidents. It's not a competition, right? If it's a competition or you're trying to win an award, then okay. But this is about a country. This is about millions of Americans' lives. People don't have health care. I actually don't have health care currently, right? So this is personal, right? People don't have health care. They're struggling to pay rent, right? You got inflation. People are struggling to survive. They don't have any money in their bank accounts. Retirement accounts are empty. Credit card balances, like that is reality, right? That is reality. And just because I'm not the enlightened centrist type or the fence sitter, I will point out that I am aware of good things. You guys just joining right now, click on the like button. If you're just joining in the live stream, click on the like button so other people can join in. So I will acknowledge, and I actually have a personal situation, and this is anecdotal. You can't focus on anecdotal, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have a friend who's kind of Trump friendly, and this person has struggled financially for a very, very long time. Thanks to Joe Biden, he was finally able to, for the first time in his life, save up, I think, something like $20,000. This is somebody who's always had roommates, who has always been on the edge in terms of finances. He has not had a good time. And what was holding him back, one of the things was holding him back, was student loan debt. He got his entire student loan debt forgiven from because of Joe Biden, right? And that was a massive boost. So people talk about all this culture war stuff, and like you have people in the middle of the country that are talking about, immigrants coming into the country. There's no immigrants anywhere near them. Right? It doesn't have any effect on their lives at all, but they spend so much energy focusing on immigrants. But here's something where this guy was struggling. He struggled for a very long time. Joe Biden came in and massively boosted him forward financially, right? So here's something where a president did something that has a massive impact. And do you know how grateful he was for this? Not very much. He is grateful to some degree, but his response is F Joe Biden, F the Democrats. Right now, truth be told, I'm not a Democrat, never was, probably never will be. Not a Republican either. I'm independent. But if I were in his shoes, I think I'm certainly not going to be a Democrat because he forgave my student loan debt and that was a major thing. But I'm not going to be so like F Biden, right? At least not in that context, right? I wouldn't have him do something that helped me so much. And in that moment, talking about that, I'm going to have like an F Biden response, right? I might say F Biden about some other things or some other times, but to have so much hate and just be so partisan and just be so brainwashed based on the media you're watching, that you're literally talking about this major thing that really helped you out. And that's your response, F. So anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But here is the reality. So I'm gonna break this down. So how is Trump getting away with this Epstein cover-up, right? In order to understand how he's getting away with it, you have to understand what this is all about. What is the Epstein focus all about, right? There's what you're hearing in the media, whether it's independent, left-wing, right-wing, and then there's reality. What is the reality of the Epstein Files? Put aside the very, very tiny group of people who are actually concerned about the children and the women. If you guys are just joining the live stream, click on the like button. Click on the like button so other people can see and join into the live stream. I see here we have Climate Impact US is in the house. Good to see you, Sam Hunt, in the house. So what is this really about? What was the whole thing? Outside of the small group of people that were focused on the Epstein Files because of the victims, and they really want to see these elites see justice, whoever they are, whoever they may be. And part of that group might even say, if Trump's involved, well, lock him up, right? But that's a very tiny group. I think an overwhelming majority of the people on the right who've been focused on Epstein, and again, to understand how the Epstein thing is over with, right? Left-wing media is not going to tell you this. They're going to keep milking this. But to understand how it's over with, and no one else is going to tell you that, you got to understand what it is. What is over with? What is the whole Epstein thing? The majority of people that are focused on the Epstein files, they're focused on it because of the potential of, I look at it as a rainbow, right? They don't care about the rainbow. The rainbow is the kids and the women, the victims, right? They don't care about the rainbow. They care about the gold at the end of the rainbow. What's the gold at the end of the rainbow that a lot of these conservatives are concerned about? Democrats, big Democrats going to prison. The idea of Clinton going to prison, and he probably should, because we know he's on those files, right? We ain't on no bullshit over here. Like, this is raw reality. This is the stuff that most people don't want to hear, right? I'm not here to pander to you if you're a Democrat. I saw there was a partisan, little progressive type guy. I forgot his name. He's like one of those Adam Mockler types. And he was talking about the Epstein files. And then somehow Clinton came up. Or the guy, he was talking like a MAGA guy. And the guy asked him about Clinton. And he was like, no, we talk about Trump. We talk about Trump, right? Because the guy is like a Democratic Party sycophant, right? He will talk about people who are sycophants of the GOP. But that's what he is, right? He is an operative of the Democratic Party. So he doesn't want to talk about Clinton, right? Because he just wants to talk about the Republicans as the bad guys. But no, Clinton's probably in those files, right? The real thing is about the idea of seeing prominent Democrats going to prison. And that's not just opposition or the people I disagree with. The other part of it is look at how many people on their side ended up in prison, right? Trump convicted felonies, 34 felonies, right? Rapist, right? That's their guy, the leader of their movement. How many of Trump allies went to prison, were charged, right? A lot of people. How many people from January 6th ended up charged, ended up in prison, right? So you have two things combined. You have this idea, the goal that they've been fed by these partisan people in right-wing media. Oh, the Democrats are grooming kids and this and that. And, oh, they're sick and they're disgusting and the Hollywood elite and they're doing stuff with the boys. And you're hearing this for years and years and years and years. It becomes part of your ideology, right? And you have this like foaming at the mouth, this, oh, I want to see Democrats get locked up, right? And the other side of it is a combination of that desire, but also, again, it becomes ideological. Because, again, if this is a core message that being given for so long, the QAnon stuff, them drinking, Pizzagate, all that kind of stuff, that is what it's ultimately all about. So that's a critical part for you to understand. You got to understand that to understand how Trump is pulling this off. I'm going to say it again. Trump is going to get away with the Epstein cover-up. The Epstein situation is over. What you're looking at right now is the last gasps of a dying whatever, right? All the CNN video, like CNN just did another video talking about, oh, we have some pictures. Look, there's pictures. Nobody cares about any goddamn pictures, right? If you're on the left, you already know Trump's on the list, right? You already know Trump's name is all over this. Right? So they could play whatever video about Trump would have. Like, we know that already, right? Folks on the right, they don't care. They don't want to hear about that. You could show 1,000 pieces of evidence, right, connecting Trump to Epstein, and they'll blow off every single one. Well, how do you know? Who said that? No, it's not a court of law. And you're just making it up. And you got TDS, right? So CNN, they're just making their money, right? Talking about this and, oh, bombshell letter. That ain't going to do nothing. Right? The right doesn't give a rat's ass, and the left, they already know it. Now, you're going to get money off it because the left, they like it. They're like, oh, yeah, we got him. They got a picture. That ain't doing nothing, man. So, again, let's go back to the beginning. It's all about seeing Democrats get in prison. That's what it's really about. In the chat, we have Ellie. Good to see you. Juan. Good to see you. HNX is in the house. Good to see you. KJ Keeley's in the house. Childish Opinion. I'm not sure what opinion you're talking about. Tony Kaiser's in the house. Good to see you. So, and yeah, okay is in the house. JR is in the house. So that's number one. It's really about going after Democrats. Okay, so now let's talk about the next phase. The next phase is, what exactly happened? Why was it that it looked like Trump was in trouble? Why did MAGA, even though left-wing media was lying about MAGA turning on Trump, why did they eventually actually finally turn on Trump for a very brief moment? What really happened? MAGA is easy to control. Now, to be honest, Americans are very easy to manipulate because Americans are very emotional, right? We are just, culturally, we're very emotional people. There's just so many things, like there's a reason why a lot of scammers from all over the world target us, right? So MAGA is even more vulnerable to manipulation, right? That's why they've been fooled for so long. It's very easy. You don't have to do much. Because, for example, look at Trump, right? You could find, the most incriminating evidence against Trump in terms of maybe Trump was involved. And every single one, you can easily get away from it just with the lamest of excuses, right? So let's just say, Trump's wife actually revolts and goes and says she actually knows that Trump was doing stuff with little girls with Epstein, right? So that's Donald Trump's own wife, right? All Trump has to say is, she's just an angry woman and she's mad and she's doing it to hurt me and this and that and whatever, right? And I guarantee you, all of MAGA will just be like, yeah, that's what women do and this and that. That's all he got to do. I mean, name whatever it is. You could just you come up with whatever type of evidence, to connect to Trump, to Epstein, and I can guarantee you the lamest of excuses, right? Even if it's, let's say, something really really strong, but you don't have the DNA evidence. It's not in 4K video, right? Then it's like, how do you know? How do you know, right? So what was happening? If they're so easy to fool, why weren't they fooled this time around? Because Trump didn't even try. Trump was just like, why are you guys still talking about this? There's nothing to see here. It's all fake. After telling them, oh, we're going to release the files. The files are coming. And Pam Bondi, yeah, we're going to phase one. And after all that, Trump didn't even give a lame excuse. Trump was just like, oh, there's no Epstein files. Nothing happened. Nothing to see here. Now, MAGA is slow. A lot of them are very developmentally challenged. They're very childish people, right? But they're not complete morons. I mean, let the left wing media folks tell it. They'll tell you that they're all complete morons. But no, MAGA needs at least some basics. Let me tell you the reality of MAGA. You can fool MAGA with the dog ate my homework. They will fall for that, right? But Trump didn't even do that. What Trump did, instead of saying the dog ate his homework, Trump says there was no homework. Trump says to the teacher, there was no homework assignment. What are you talking about? There was no homework assignment. You can't fool the teacher. The teacher knows if it's a homework assignment, plus the whole class knows, right? That's not going to work. Right? Even for people that are dumb enough to, you come and say, well, the dog ate my homework. Oh, I'm so sorry, man. That dog is out of control. Even for people that would fall for that, you can't tell them there's no homework assignment. That's what Trump did, right? That's the whole reason why MAGA was turning on him. Because they will go off of any crumbs you give them. Because they don't want to. Here's the thing. Here's another reality, right? If you voted for Trump, if you really like Trump, the idea that he might have done something with children, like, that's a tough pill to swallow. And it's just human nature. Your brain is going to protect you from things that are uncomfortable. That's an uncomfortable reality, that you might have voted for someone who might have done things with little children, right? That's a tough pill to swallow. So what's going to happen is, any evidence that suggests that, your brain is going to manifest some kind of alternate reality. And if it doesn't, right when media can give it to you, and your bar is going to be very low. Anything they feed you, this is made up. They just try to, the Wall Street Journal, they gone woke. Oh yeah, Wall Street Journal gone woke, right? But you got to give them something, right? So now let's move on to the next phase. If you guys are just joining the live stream, click on the like button as you join the live stream. Dennis is in the house. Marvin Brando is in the house. Good to see you. Who else do we have here? Miss Blue Ocean is in the house, and she says, behave. I see Sam is in the house. Low IQ. Everybody is turning on Trump. Diddlers deserve jail. All right, guys. Click on the like button if you're just joining. So here's the next phase, right? So we know what this is really all about. It's about Democrats getting in prison, right? And then it's about, you got to give an excuse. Even if it's a lame excuse, they need some kind of excuse, right? Why you're not giving the files. Well, got it covered, right? So let's look at this. Like I said, they are easy to fool. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be very slick. And here's an example. You're seeing it right now. You're seeing, so it's not just me, my personal opinions, and I'm just going on my feelings. Factually, demonstrably true. And here it is right now. The evidence is right now what you're seeing. So here's how they're being fooled and how lame it is, but yet they fall for it, right? So here's the deal. All right. So these are the Epstein files, right? And I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to give this to you. You guys are going to get this. I'm going to give you, and it's good. It's really good. And man, when you see this, it's going to be so scandalous, right? And then all of a sudden, I don't give it to you. And you're like, hey, what happened to that stuff? And then I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no stuff. That's the Democrats. DEI, CRT. Yeah, the woke. It's the woke media and the fake news. Like, so again, that's not gonna work, right? Because they're like, they remember that you had the thing and you were like, hey, man, I'm going to give this to you. So that's when they revolted, right? So here's how you do it now. So now after a while, when you realize that that's not working, then it's like, okay, so you understand, right, that what they really want is Democrats in prison, right? And you understand that you got to at least try to fool them. You need some kind of a story. So you're like, okay, guys, so I'm gonna try to give you the pistachios, right? The pistachios that you want. Now remember, right? This is what I promised you, and this is what you said you wanted, right? And people were like, oh, this and that, and we're serious, and this is a bipartisan thing, and we really care about the victims and whatever, right? This is it, right? I offered it to you, and then I put it away, and then you're like, what happened to that thing you promised? And then I'm like, there was nothing. What are you talking about? It's all fake. And then you get really mad, and then I'm like, okay, you want it? Oh, well, I'm gonna give you this stuff, guys. But here's the beauty, right? So, this is on my desk, right? Pam Bondi, who worked for Donald Trump. This is on my desk. I could give it to you right now, right? I could give it to you real good right now, right? But instead of that, I'm going to offer you this, which is not on my desk, which requires judges, right? I got to go ask judges to release these things. Also, the things in there definitely wouldn't incriminate me, right? The things in there are focused on Epstein, who's dead, and Maxwell, who's already in prison, right? I'm going to offer you the grand jury stuff for people that are either dead or in prison. And definitely not going to have anything relevant to me. And if it does, I'm not going to give it to you because I'm not giving you the whole thing. I'm going to give you what's pertinent, right? So if I know that I did some bad stuff with Epstein, I'm going to make sure that whatever that is, it's not pertinent, right? And if you ask me, why are there things redacted or missing? Oh, it wasn't pertinent, right? So I'm setting it up to where not only are these files a fraction of the stuff, right? Not only are they focused on a dead man and a woman in prison, not only are they very likely not to have anything about Trump in there or Trump's allies in there, but also, since he's only going to give what's pertinent, right, he can heavily redact it, right? And then the best part of it, the most important part of it is MAGA has a short attention span, right? So because of the delays with the judges, so this is how it works, right? So you put in the request and you make a big press announcement. You post something on Twitter. Oh, we're trying to get the grand jury. We're going to get those files. Remember, this is what MAGA wanted, supposedly. They already have it, right? They have the files, right? The massive amount of files that might include things like Clinton's involvement, right? Those Democrats that you want to see in prison who might have done things with kids, might have been involved with Epstein, that's on Pam Bondi's desk. Trump has that. Trump can give it to you. But instead of giving that to you, he's offering you pistachios, which he doesn't have. He has to get through the courts. So here's the beauty of that. That gives it time. So now, when MAGA presses on, like, where's the files? Well, you know, we're working on it, and we have the request to the judges, and it takes time, and you guys got to be patient, whatever. And then as time goes on, oh, these activist judges, and this and that, and it could literally be judges that Trump appointed, and he'd be like, these activist judges, and there's a deep state, and right? But if you just do that, maybe, I don't know, it might work, might not work. But here's the other piece that's perfect, right? As you are stalling for time, right? And you're throwing things at the wall. Hey, look at the, Martin Luther King files, all right? Rosie O'Donnell, let's go and we're going to take away her citizenship, right? That's the warm-up. The real good stuff is what's coming now. What comes now is the gold, right? Remember, it wasn't about this, right? It wasn't about the Epstein file. It wasn't about Epstein. It wasn't about the girls. It wasn't about the women. It was about Democrats going to prison. That's what MAGA wants. So now, oh, we're trying to Obama. We're gonna get Obama in jail. Yes, Obama and the 2016 storm fire, this and that, and interfere with the election. 2016, this and that, and Hillary Clinton, this and that, right? And it's going to take some time, but over time, you're going to see MAGA start to be like, yeah, get him, right? Lock him up. Now, fortunately, and I'm hoping I'm wrong on this one, I don't think that Trump at this moment is going as far as was predicted in terms of, authoritarian. So, that being the case, that means you're not actually going to see Democrats go to prison, right? Because the Democrats that should go in prison would probably be people like Clinton, who are probably in the Epstein Files just like Trump, right? But to get Clinton in jail, in prison, you need the Epstein Files that Trump is blocking and covering up right now, right? The grand jury testimony is not going to do that, right? And so right now, all this stuff about 2016, that's all nonsense, smoke screens, right? But if you keep talking about it and this and then do some hearings and whatever, and then MAGA, just the foaming, yeah, Democrats are going to prison, yeah, they're going to get them. You guys that are just joining the live stream, click on the like button. If you're just joining the live stream, click on the like button as you join the live stream. Thanks for watching. We've got 518 people watching. And we certainly don't have 518 likes. So the way that this works is over time, you keep putting on a show, making it look like big Democrats are going to go to prison. But this is mutually assured destruction. By the way, a big talking point is why didn't Biden release the files? Mutually assured destruction, right? This is bipartisan. Right? I'm sure you have prominent Democrats, not just Clinton, who are involved in this. You definitely have Republicans, definitely Donald Trump involved in this, right? But if Joe Biden releases, when he was president, if he releases evidence against against Trump, the same area that he would have to dive into to expose that would be where Clinton stuff is, right? So Joe Biden is not going to take down the Democratic Party establishment, right? It's not going to happen, right? And I can't believe people like Destiny fell for that stupid talking point, right? That's just as dumb as he kicked him out of the club, right? How you going to hate from outside the club and you can't even get in? Anyway, if you know where that's from, comment in the chat. So that's the basic thing, but it gets worse. MAGA not only, so let me make this very clear. The people who victimize those children and those women, right, are going to get away with it. The elites who victimize those children and women are going to get away with it because of MAGA. And it's even worse than that because of MAGA, the only person who has been held accountable might get a pardon. Right? Remember I said you could fool MAGA easily. You just give them a little bit of crumbs and they'll fall for it. So here's the reality. This woman is like looking at life in prison. What would she do to get out of prison? See, MAGA won't think like that, right? Trump could easily work out a deal with her and have her say whatever, right? And MAGA will believe it. They're not going to have that skepticism. They're not even thinking like, okay, we don't really want to hear from her. We want the files that you already have and that you promised us. See, MAGA is not sort of smart enough or mature enough or aware enough to keep their eyes on the prize, the files that they already have, right? So it's not really going to be very hard to fool them, right? They're not going to be looking at her as suspicious. So what Trump can do is make a deal with her. I'm going to pardon you. All you have to do is clear my name, because Trump doesn't care about the victims. right? He doesn't care about the women or any of that stuff. He's worried about him, right? So you cover me, make sure I'm nowhere near this, right? And I will give you a pardon. And then they start boosting up this democratic, it's a hoax narrative, right? Trump's in the clear, right? And maybe Ghislaine Maxwell, maybe it was a setup. You remember how the Democrats, how they did their, what is this, a shorefire hurricane, whatever that stupid thing was, the interference in the 2016. Remember all that stuff? Remember the Russia, right? Eventually, with enough of participation from state media like Charlie Kirk, Tim Pool, Blaze TV, Newsmax, right? That's state TV. That's their job, is to keep the establishment in power. Their job is to keep people in line with what the government wants. Right now, the government wants us to forget about the Epstein Files. That's the government. That's the order from the top. Donald Trump himself is covering up the Epstein Files. So he has the entire Republican Party helping him. Republican Party has been blocking the release of the files multiple times now. They're trying to leave DC so to avoid voting on it, right? So the entire Republican Party is helping to protect these pedophiles, right? And since right-wing media exists almost entirely to support the establishment, to support the government, they are also now trying to get MAGA in line. Oh, this and that, a Democrat hoax and Wall Street Journal and this and that, Rupert, it's fake news, right? So whatever little crumbs, Trump made a mistake and not giving any crumbs. But now that he's giving crumbs, that's it. Whatever crumbs he gives, all the right-wing media gonna put it out there, right? So when he delays about the files because of the judges or whatever the excuse is going to be, the right wing you're going to be like, oh, don't listen to CNN. CNN is saying this and that. They don't know how the court system works. There's a procedure and the judges and they're trying to protect the children. Whatever the narrative. So the talking point is going to come from the Trump team, right? I mean, Trump literally made phone calls. You remember the Twitter files? How these fake people were pretending to, oh, the government is controlling the media. Trump literally was calling around to right-wing media influencers, this is the president of the United States, trying to get the media to help him to cover up the Epstein files. Calling people like Charlie Kirk, who right away was like, okay, I'm done talking about this. And we saw many of them falling in line, right? And all these free speech. And they were that's what I told you. I told you back then it was fake. And I'm going to tell you again, it was fake. All this Twitter file bullshit, right? Especially those people like Matt Taibbi, bullshitters, grifters, right? Talking about, oh, free speech. Now Trump can go around and call these people and get them to get MAGA in line. And it's all good. They don't care. They don't care. It's fine. It's fine. The government... even what was it? Candace Owens even admitted that Trump has called her before. To her credit, the thing that she was called about, she actually revolted. But I don't know, with her, she's gotten so big. I think she's gotten to the point where, because ultimately these people just care about money, right? They just care about money. Why are they? I mean, some of them might be political, but most of them is just greed, man. So if they feel like they can make money, like look at Nick Fuentes. He calling out Trump or whatever, said he's fat, right? He's found a lane where he can make money without, doing whatever Trump, wants, right? Candace Owens has blown up massively. So if her whole contrarian thing and, talking about things nobody else talk about is making her so much money, and look, she's married to somebody who's so wealthy, who I think might even have an Epstein connection, I'm not sure. But if she's making money like that, then I think she's getting to the point where she feels that she doesn't have to be part of this state media thing. So she actually and I'm trusting something she said, right? She could be lying, but supposedly she rejected Trump trying to control her on the French president's wife being a trans or whatever. But bottom line is he was calling all these influencers, No big deal, right? So the influencers are going to continue to feed MAGA whatever crumbs that Trump gives out, all the distractions. Oh, we're waiting on the court cases and this and that. And Obama's going to go to prison any day now, and maybe do some hearings, and then asking all kind of tricky, sneaky questions. Maybe somehow they get Obama to get a subpoena for Obama, and then they do some hearing with Obama. And Obama, in 2016, why did you send the email stating that something, it'll be something totally stupid, but they say it in a certain way that makes it sound like, aha! And then MAGA will be like, ooh, got him, right? And that's basically it, man. This whole Epstein thing is over with. Trump is going nowhere. MAGA is going nowhere. While left-wing media is telling you about how Trump's ratings are falling and Trump is doing horribly, he's so unpopular, Trump is very much loved by MAGA and the GOP. Right now, as it stands, the Republican Party is very competitive for the midterms. You see what happens when you're somebody like me who doesn't make any money doing this? I don't have any plans of making money. That's not my thing. In fact, I think doing business on YouTube is bad because YouTube is a horrible company. You could have your whole business wiped out overnight and you can't even get to talk to a human. And I'll give you a little anecdotal story. I used to actually run professional YouTube channels, and I had what was called a channel account manager, I think it was called. That was something they was doing back in the day. So I believe it or not, I had a person that I could actually call, right, when things happened. I had posted a video using music provided by YouTube. I got a copyright strike. I called my channel manager. I said, hey, man, you guys strike me for the music that you provided. The person agreed with me that the strike was wrong, but said they couldn't do anything about it. You think I would want to invest my time and energy into making a business on YouTube, working for a company like that, where even having a representative and have them agree with you, and then they can't do anything about it? So you work so hard and your channel gets a copyright strike and it's a mistake and they know, and then they just like, so I don't need to say what people want to hear, right? That's one of the differences you're going to see here. I'm not running a business, right? I'm not trying to make left-wing people, left is best. I know that bullshit, right? I'm not here, MAGA. I'm going to put some bullshit American flag. I'm not saying the American flag is bullshit, but the symbology, because I'm right-wing media, so I love America. Yeah, look at my flag and I got my gun, and I don't got to do that kind of bullshit, right? When Black Lives Matter was going on, I don't need to go put some Black Lives Matter thing. Oh, Black Lives Matter. Or I'm going to put some Ukraine flag. I don't got to do none of that bullshit. I'm not pandering to anybody. I'm not here to make anybody feel good. In fact, on a regular basis, I say things that my top subscribers don't want to hear. I'm a very small channel. I don't get a lot of views at all, right? If I had any interest in this as a business, right, I would never, ever, ever be calling out people that I know my top subscribers like, right? I might post a video. I might not even get 100 views, right? I might not even get 5 likes on a video. By the way, click on the video. Let me get some likes. I might not even get 5 likes on a video, right? So if I have somebody who really loves my channel, and I have a few, not a lot, but I have a few that love my channel, watch all my videos, comment on my videos, like on my videos, the idea that I would call out people that they love and say that they're frauds, which I do. And I've lost subscribers, many, because of that. What happens is I will call out the left and right-wing people will subscribe. And then when I call out the right, all of a sudden, oh, this and that, and you only calling out the right. You don't call it, like they forget. Like, for example, I'll get just, and you can look at the records, right? I was not down with this whole Black Lives Matter stuff. Right? I don't want to sidetrack this whole thing. We saw what happened in the end with the mansions and where did all the money go? Of course, Candace Owens jumped on that. That's her thing, right? She's going to try to go against it because that's the opposition, whatever. But in the beginning, I was quiet because it looked a little shady. And then I started watching on the ground and seeing what was happening. I always talk about the Chicago ambush, right? With Antifa and Black Lives Matter and what they did attacking those cops, right? And then at some point I realized that this is bullshit, right? It became something that was the corporations were pushing it, right? So at that time I saw it was bullshit and I was calling it out. So who you think came to my channel? They were like, so conservatives like, oh, look at this guy. He seems to be left leaning, but he's telling the truth about this bullshit Black Lives Matter stuff, right? So then they subscribe. But then Trump does some bullshit, and I'm like, Trump's a fraud. Trump was involved with the Epstein Files. Then all of a sudden, you're a left winger and you're partisan, right? So that's why my channel stays small. It always will be small because people subscribe when they see me attacking another side, and when I attack their side, they run away. I tell the raw truth because I'm not here trying to be famous. I'm not looking for attention. I'm trying to make money. So it doesn't impact my life at all to tell you guys the raw truth. And the raw truth is Trump is going to get away with this Epstein cover-up, right? He's giving them what they want. Oh, well, he's making them feel like he is because I hope I hope I'm right on this one. But because if I'm wrong, it's bad. Because you have two options. Trump can really go authoritarian and literally put Democrats in jail based on fake charges or some real BS, right? Because to me, the real way to put the top Democrats in prison is to expose himself, is to expose the files that Pam has on her desk, but they're covering up right now and probably deleting, right? That's how you get to the big Democrats being in prison, right? You want to see Clinton in prison? You need the Epstein Files, right? But that's being covered up by the Republican Party. And I think another data point for you to realize that Trump is going to get away with this is an important detail. If you guys just joined right now, click on the like button. Click on the like button if you just joined right now so other people can join in the live stream. We got 271 people watching. See, God is in the house. So here's another detail that lets you know that Trump is going to get away with this. Right now, the Republicans are competitive for the midterms, right? One of the reasons for that is, 2018, when the red wave ended up being a blue wave, a lot of those wins were in competitive areas, right? But right now, most of the Republican control, the seats that they could potentially lose, are in safe areas, right? This is something that was just recently reported. So you don't have that same scenario, right? So they lost a lot of seats when they had a lot of seats that were vulnerable. They don't have as many seats that are vulnerable, right? And the reason they don't have as many seats that are vulnerable is because, again, MAGA doesn't care about the Epstein Files, right? Right now, people in the Republican Party have no fear about blocking the Epstein Files. They've voted against it twice, right? Because they feel like they won't have any issues winning elections. And I agree with them, right? Let me give you a contrast. When they were talking about this election fraud stuff, right? They were threatening, the MAGA folks were threatening Republicans that if you don't do something about this election fraud, we're not going to vote for you. We're not going to show up. They were threatening to vote out these Republicans if they didn't deliver. That is not happening right now. Republican Party is not being threatened of being voted out of power if they don't deliver the Epstein Files, which is why they're comfortable voting against it. They're comfortable shutting down and running out of DC, right? Not voting for the release of the files, right? Because they see what I see, that MAGA doesn't give a rat's ass and that the cover-up is running right now successfully. So that's another data point, right? The fact that Republicans are not worried about their base, right? They're not worried about winning elections. They know that all this noise about Epstein Files, come midterm, these people are going to vote for these Republicans in droves. Let me give you a little bit of historical context. Matt Gaetz was friends with a child sex trafficker who's in prison right now. Matt Gaetz was friends with a child sex trafficker who's in prison right now. Matt Gaetz was a person who, like Donald Trump and like Epstein, liked them young, right? This is a well-known thing among the Republican Party, right? Him messing around with barely legal people, and it was even a situation where very questionable whether they were legal or not, right? A lot of evidence suggesting that the kind of stuff that people are supposedly worried about with Epstein, that Matt Gaetz is implicated in that as well. At a minimum, this guy was friends with a child sex trafficker, just like Trump was really good friends with a child sex trafficker for over a decade. At least, Matt Gaetz wasn't friends with a child sex trafficker as long as Trump was, right? Matt Gaetz won his election handily. If these people really cared about the kids and whatever pedophiles, if they really cared about that, just the guilt of association would be enough to at least make him have to struggle to win. I'm not saying he's gonna lose, but he shouldn't have won by such a strong margin, right? If they really cared about the kids, think about that. You really care about the kids and you're so bothered and these pedophiles. And somebody like Matt Gaetz, who's got all these red flags, can win the election, his election, very easily. They don't care about the kids. They don't care about the women. They don't care about Epstein. It was always about getting Democrats in prison. That's what it was always about. That's why the Republican Party, in this moment where the MAGA is complaining about, oh, the Epstein Files, the pedophile, yet the Republican Party is not even hidden, right? They are in their faces, spitting in MAGA's face, right? MAGA says, we want the files. And Republicans are like, no, we're not releasing the files. And they're blocking it, right? You got these opportunists in the Democratic Party who are taking advantage, and rightfully so, right? But they are opportunists taking advantage, talking about release the files and what was it? I forgot, Ro Khanna, whoever trying to do the thing, bipartisan thing. And the Republican Party is blocking it. If MAGA really cared about these files, the Republicans would be terrified to be blocking the files. Think about that. The entire party right now is blocking the release of the files. Pam Bondi, who works for Trump, has the files already, could release them right now, like how they released that Martin Luther King files. They can release it right now. But they're blocking it. They're having people look for anything where Trump's name shows up, right? And they are distracting with, oh, we're going to do grand jury stuff, which takes time and judges. And then they talk about, oh, we're going to just release the pertinent stuff. But yet, where's the revolt? Right? MAGA revolted for a couple of days. And now they're right back in the cult. Right? They don't really care. I think Trump is doing a great job right now with what he's trying to do with this cover up. I think it's going to work. I think this Epstein story is done. I think there's a thing where when someone dies, there's like a thing where their muscles might twitch or something like that. And it might look like the person is still alive, but that's just like biology. That's what we're looking at right now. When you turn on CNN, when you turn on, Tim Pool or whatever it is, you're watching twitching, right? It's dead. Donald Trump is going to get away once again. He is going to successfully cover up the Epstein files. MAGA is going to move on, and they're going to focus on whatever circus that's coming next, right? They're going to keep throwing stuff at the wall, and whatever gets the most traction, they're going to focus on that, right? You have, what's that guy name with the app, with his son, the porn app, with the glasses, who always look like he's high. You ever look at his eyes, he's like, I can't even, was it Johnson or whatever? So you could continue watching these left-wing media channels telling you that MAGA's revolting and Trump is done and we finally got him. I'm sorry to tell you, man. I would like to tell you that that's the case. I would love to, if that's the case. I would love to hear that Trump is done and MAGA is over with and we can move on, in this country from this very dark chapter. But the reality is that's not happening. You guys just join the live stream, click on the like button, click on the like button if you just joined the live stream. I'm going to take a look in the chats in a second. But there you have it, man. I think we broke down everything. So Rico Tubbs says Clinton's emails. Was that what the cover is going to be? Truett Woods says Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and He can be. Oh my goodness. Oscar says, "Wow, someone who actually sees it for what it is." Yep, the raw truth, man. The raw truth. Kirk says the Democrats are the parties that fought a civil war to keep blacks enslaved. As a child. C. Whoop says, as a child, aborting libs ever cared about children. Spare us your fake outrage. I don't know where you see outrage. I'm just telling it like it is. I mean, does this look like outrage to you? I don't know, man. Maybe we have a different definition of outrage. Poor Miss Blue Ocean says this chat is exhausting. Sorry, man. We got to get some more moderators. But I appreciate your help, Miss Blue Ocean. The Democrats are the party. Oh man, is that like a bot and you're like repeating that because I just read that. All you gave was your opinion. Ted Trey, all you gave was your opinion. Okay. So who said that? That's Ted. So Ted, I'm gonna do a TEDx. Your thoughts that Clinton is a pedophile, that's just your opinion. Your thoughts that Pelosi might have done some stuff, she's involved with some of this stuff as well, that's your opinion. Your thoughts that Joe Biden wasn't really the president and maybe somebody was behind the scenes running things or something like that, that's all your opinion. Right? You see how that goes? You see how that works? Right? Here's the reality. If Joe Biden had 1/50th of evidence tying him to Jeffrey Epstein as Trump did, it would be your opinion that clearly Joe Biden is in those files and probably is a pedo. 1/50th of what we see about Trump. But no matter how much evidence connects Trump to this, it's your opinion that everybody else is guilty, but not Trump, right? Trump, who was best friends with a child sex trafficker for 10 years. Trump, who wishes well the woman who was this person's partner. Trump, who kicks him out of his club when possibly he was doing things that could mess with Trump's brand and potentially get Trump exposed for what he might have been doing with Epstein. But you're going to ignore all of it, right? Trump said he's going to release the files, then he doesn't want to release the file. Now he's insulting his own base. All this suspicious activity, right? All the people who wanted to release the files, yeah, we're going to release the files. As soon as I start working for Trump, all of a sudden, no, there's no files. 1/50th of that, and it would be your opinion, Ted. It would definitely be your opinion that Joe Biden is guilty. But for some reason, it's infinite the amount of evidence tying Trump to Epstein that you will just completely ignore. Right? Because the guy who said, grab him in the pussy, certainly wouldn't be doing anything with some children, right? The guy who has a place called Mar-a-Lago where a lot of these girls were recruited. A guy who used to go into locker rooms while little girls were undressing. He admits this. I'm going to tell you, Ted, there's no one else in this world who could do all these things and you would not believe they're guilty. Right? No one else. I can't name anyone else who could, imagine Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden used to have these modeling competitions, and he was going in the girls' locker room while they're undressing, talking about his daughter's breasts, um, flirting with Rudy Giuliani dressed up as a woman, right? Talking about what was it? They asked him in an interview, Trump, what's in common with your daughter? And he's like, oh, I would have said sex. Like always sexualizing his own daughter, right? Sexualizing his daughter, good friends with a child sex trafficker, talking about grabbing women by the pussy, convicted of rape. Many other women accused him, but it didn't go anywhere. I'm sure it's all made up. It's all fake, right? Sure thing, bro. Da-da-da. I'm hearing crickets, Kirk. Forget about Epstein. On to Obama. Yep. That's right, Charles. Jack says, how would you feel Border Patrol push you back into razor wire? I would not feel good about that. I know a couple of computer repair guys who can recover them Hillary hard drives. J-Dad. All right, J-Dad, let's get those Hillary emails. All right, guys, I'm going to end the live stream. I think I've said all that I need to say. If you guys enjoyed the live stream, click on the like button. If you hated it, actually, let's get a survey, a quick survey. If you enjoyed this live stream, I want to see some ones in the chat. If you believe I was dropping some knowledge. You know what I like more than my Lamborghini? Books and knowledge. If you enjoy this live stream, click on the one. If you think this live stream sucks, I'm a left-wing hack, and I'm talking fake news, and I got TDS, and I just hate Donald Trump, and I'm just a dummy, I'm a socialist, give me a 2. 2 in the chat. Actually, maybe give me an L for loser. How about that? If you think this stream sucked, and you think I'm just talking fake news, I'm opinion, I don't know what I'm talking about, let's get some L's in the chat. If you enjoyed this live stream, let's get some ones in the chat. Let's see the bloodbath. I see some ones, I see some L's. Okay. Brad says 1. Douglas gave me a 0. God damn. Thank you, Kat, Stella, True. A says 1. Oh my goodness, Simple Yaza gave me 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Kevin said 1s, so a lot of 1s, that's good. Brave having a mic. I got an L from Arian. He gave me a mic and an L and then another L. I don't know what that means. I got 1s from 951 base. And let's see, L 111. Not bad, but I think that probably means, I'm going to assume, because we had over 500 people here. I don't know what we peaked at. I'm going to assume that the reason that there's so many 1s and not as many L's is because by now I have said so many uncomfortable truths that most MAGA people, if you were here, you're gone already. The MAGA people who are here now probably just joined the live stream. I mean, I would say, if I'm going to take a guess, so out of the people who gave the L's, and I'm not saying that you're all MAGA, you could be a left-winger and you still disagree with me, but I'm sure most of you MAGA. I would say a very tiny amount of you are like hate watching. You're just bored or whatever it is, and you've been around for a while. But I think most of you just joined the live stream, so you haven't heard enough of me telling the truth about Donald Trump. That's why you're still here. And then I just got a whole stream of L's, which came in, I guess, just to hurt my feelings. But anyway, thanks for joining the live stream, guys. And I got another live stream coming up where I'm going to break down the full story about Trump and Epstein and the Clintons, on unadulterated, raw. Everybody can get it, right? Everybody can get it. I'm just gonna tell it like it is, and I'm gonna break down the whole story. I know if you're MAGA, don't even bother. You're not gonna be interested in that. But for those who do want to hear more about what happened, what brought us to this moment, and this was more freestyle. I'm heavily, I'm obsessed with politics, right? But I'm not just obsessed with politics. Again, I look at a lot of media. I go from far right all the way to far left. Mainstream media, liberal media, conservative media. So that allows me to have an understanding of how things work, how politics works in this country. And it's from that framework that I'm able to assess this cover up is going to be successful. Also looking at historical precedent. But for the Epstein live stream that I'm going to do, going into the whole story and all the connections and Clinton and all that stuff, that's going to be more, let's just say, receipts, right? It's not going to be so organic like this, where I'm just kind of speaking from the heart and speaking based on just what I know, how these things work, and how politics works in this country. So I'm going to give you a much more detail, so things that you can actually look up yourself, right? So if you are actually curious, you're part of the group of people, the smaller group of people that actually want to know the truth, and they're not just going along with whatever they're being fed by, partisan left-wing media, partisan right-wing media, or, the enlightened centrist grifts or whatever, then you're going to want to watch that live stream. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, but I probably want to do it pretty soon because I have some big stuff coming up. For me personally, nothing to do with the channel. I am actually a real person. I have a real life. So if I need to get that done pretty quickly because I'm going to be really, really busy very, very soon. So all good stuff, but that's just the logistics of it. So anyway, thanks for watching the live stream, you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the likes. And I'm going to give a final shout out as we close the live stream. Shout out to Arian. Shout out to CC Shops is in the house. BBE, Adam, Derek, Chauvin, Navy SEAL 2K. I don't know if you're actually a Navy SEAL or you just like military. I am a veteran. So if you are as well, hurrah! I would do a salute, but that probably is inappropriate. Donald Trump is on the side of skyscrapers, star of number of TV shows, and now president of the United States. What are you up to? I am a loser who is right now in my mama's basement trying to get attention on YouTube by bashing Donald Trump. All right, guys. Miss Blue Ocean again, thank you so much. Well, you sure thought out the racists and haters tonight. You sure brought out the racists and haters tonight. Yeah, man. Israel owns America. Oh, man. Don't forget, he also called his supporters stupid. Yep. All right, guys, that's it. I am done for tonight. Thanks for watching. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. Debate me in the comment section below. If you guys are watching the replay, go ahead and comment below and let me know what you thought. If you missed the live stream, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. You think this is stupid? I didn't make any points. I'm just being partisan. I'm saying my opinion, like Ted said. Go ahead and let me have it. I don't care. Give me your worst. Give me your best. I don't care. All are welcome here. Haters, lovers, whatever. I'm just here to tell you the truth. What you do with it, that's on you, right? I may say things that anger you or you disagree with or whatever. I'm just gonna tell you like it is, man. I guess in some ways, I don't want to. This might not be the best analogy, but I'm like the sun, right? The sun comes up every day. It doesn't care what your feelings are, what your ideology is. It just does what it does, right? That's nature. That's life. We live, we die, right? We what is it? We crawl, we walk. What's the thing? We start. You start on twos. What is it? Start on fours. Start on fours, then on twos, then on threes. Anyway, I'm out. End the live stream now. How do I do that? Bump, ba-dum, ba-dum, bump. Thanks again, guys, for all the likes. Really appreciate it. And the comments and support. And the hate as well. All is welcomed here. How do I view the live control room? How about that? I need some outro music. 26,000 views. God damn. Where the hell is the end live stream button? I am being a boomer right now. Boo Wilbur. So Scotty says, Dad. Oh shit. How do I end this live stream? How do I get out of this? Save me. Save me. Okay. How about this? He's back. Dun dun dun. I gotta do the how's it go? Bum, bum, bum.